Okay, I got 45 minutes, right, left on my memory. So here was the thing that was going on with me, right? Now, you know, my last video, I was talking about infinite beings. This video, I would like to talk about a divine masculine and what, you know, what makes a divine masculine. We want to be able to describe a divine feminine, right? A divine masculine will definitely support his divine feminine. Okay? Now, for those people who don't believe that women, you know, have missions and purpose divinely guided, yes, those people, they're lost. They're lost. Because, like I said, women are the first ones that get the message about what spirits need to come into this earth for a mission and a purpose. When they deny the woman the right to be on her divinely mission and purpose, yeah, that's problematic, which is probably one of the reasons why we fall short. Okay, we fall short. Even when we are trying our best, we're going to fall short because why? You all are taking women and acting like they don't have a divine purpose. So, that's the first thing. That's the first thing that would make a divine masculine. The first thing that would make a divine masculine is that, number one, he's supportive of his divine feminine. And even if your particular divine feminine is unavailable, okay, let's just say that. Let's just say maybe somebody came along and scooped up, damn, another car wash opening, and scooped up your divine feminine, the one that was destined for you, the one that was compatible for you, the one that you should have what is this insurance company? The one that you should have, you know, hooked up with and had your that was going to complete you. Okay? Right? There are, you know, divine people that don't need completion, meaning they have all of the elements and they can manifest because they have all the tools that they need to manifest. All right? So yes, there are people who have all of the elements and they don't need another human being to supplement their energies in order to manifest, right? And people who have stelliums, you know, a lot of them know this. They know that, oh my gosh, you know, because they have so many planetary placements in one particular sign or another, and it's not spread out through the elements, that it becomes problematic for them to actually manifest, right? They need to be in conjunction with people who have those other elements. All right? Yes. daughter, for instance, my daughter, she has a stellium of Aries energy. Now, some people believe that because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, that they are born with all of the elements, being a fire sign. Do I believe that? No, I don't believe that. I believe that, Aries, should have, other placements above their stellium, right? But she needs to have other elements, right? I hadn't studied her chart. I don't study the chart of my girls. I don't. And I don't study the chart of, family members or, lovers. Now, I will study a chart of an ex-lover, right? Well, in the past, I have studied charts of ex-lovers, basically to see where, the misalignment was, okay? And because there was a misalignment and the relationship didn't work out, I want to know why. I want to know, can it be detected on the birth chart? So, now most of the men that I've had longer relationships with have been earth signs. Okay? Such as the longest relationship I've had with an earth sign was a Capricorn. We wasn't always like intimate, but it was deep. Okay? And it went on for about 40 years. 40 something years, right? 40-ish years. And it just, the sad part about it is that, this person was like decades older than me. He was also a Mason. And his AC, well, his ASC, his ascendant was in alignment with my ascendant, right? My ascendant was on Taurus. His ascendant was on Capricorn. So we both had the same ascendant, but he had a sun in Capricorn, right? He had a sun in Capricorn, and my sun was 0 degrees Gemini. Okay, so there was a deep connection, right? But I was surprised, that he didn't understand how deep the connection was. He just knew it was deep, but honestly, he really played around with our connection because I guess, because he was older, he was much older, and we both sort of just said, it's a great connection, but we don't really have a lot in common because, basically he was old enough to be my dad. And basically, since he was old enough to be my dad, I was not willing to to give up, my developmental stage, just to be with somebody who was already past that, right? What do I mean by that, right? I believe I met him in my 20s. He was in his 40s. And, yeah. So anyway, like I said, I'm 20 years old, and we all know what we do when we're in our 20s. We definitely aren't doing what people do in their 40s. We're just not, right? We got careers to think about, and it's a whole new world for us. Whereas people in their 40s, it's not so much a whole new world for them. It's not new. And it just definitely didn't feel like it was a new thing. But we definitely had a connection. Then I had some brief connections with some Virgos. And then a longer connection. Well, I dated in a short marriage with a Virgo. Okay. And then after that, had, this weird situation with a Taurus. Right? Didn't know Taurus was, batshit crazy. The males, I don't know. The females, they don't seem like they're too much batshit crazy. But the males, yeah, a lot of them, yeah. But I guess, even the Capricorns can be batshit crazy, right? Look at OJ. OJ was like, he can be like the white man and kill a white woman and not get, and not get persecuted for it, not get prosecuted for it. Yeah, I think that's a little batshit crazy. Chris Brown, he went ahead and, beat on, a beautiful model, right? And even though, he was forgiven, it took him like a decade to forgive his ass. But yeah, why in the world he would even do something like that, is beyond us, right? And I guess, he might blame it on the steroids that he was taking. All right? But yeah, so I can say honestly, well, initially, my deepest relationship was with the exploring brand new feelings I never understood. Then there was a Leo man, which ended up being my husband. And that one was absolutely crazy. Because I don't know how I let the way he talked, make me make decisions based off of talk alone, right? And that's when I was with him. And of course, he said he was a Nazarene, right? When I was with him was when these ladies, had approached me and told me that this time was coming. This period of time that I'm dealing with. They said that their guys, needed to inform me that, there was going to be a situation. It's going to be involving, my house. And my husband, my ex-husband, well, he was my husband at the time. He was like, yeah, we gonna have a big house and this, that, and the third, and they were like, no. They told him no. He got angry with these women. And he tried to tell me, don't listen to these women. But I was listening to these women and I asked him, I said, okay, so you're saying that I won't be married? And they're like, no, we don't see you having a man. And I'm like, okay, so that's when it was indicated to me that here I am going to have a house, but there ain't going to be no married man involved. Okay? But they said I would come out of that situation. And I asked them, well, can you tell me, because of course these men, they'll be in relationships with you and they won't marry you. So I was like, is there going to be, am I going to have at least a boyfriend? And they were like, they didn't see one, but that doesn't mean there wasn't one. And I was like, what? What is that? What? Because that didn't even sound like me, Because I had believed in marriage. Do I believe in marriage now? At my old age? No. Do I believe that marriage is possible? Yeah. I do. Do I believe that marriages that they have today, are they true marriages? A lot of them not. They're not. And that's because I have experienced really close relationships where, you do feel like you're psychically connected with someone. And you can sense this person, from distances away from them. Right? And those are, relationships that would be the best kind of marriage. If you're with someone and you don't have a psychic connection or even a sentient connection with them, you know, I think you got the wrong person, or one or both of you haven't spiritually evolved. Somebody way over here in Seagullville ordered Chinese food from over here at White Rock Lake. I cannot believe it, but it happens. So yeah, when I see people who, you know, who are in a relationship and you can see their energetic connection. It's radiant, but you can see it, or at least sense that it's there, right? You can sense that these two people, you know, are sharing energies. At one time, you know, I thought it was just me. I'm like, maybe it's just me that sees this. Or it has this kind of clarity. Right? Thank God that, you know, it's now opened up to even more people. Because me personally, I don't feel good at all about having a reality in a realm that, you know, nobody else is included in. It's lonely that way. So now that more people It's a rooster.
Antoinette says, meet at door, ring doorbell.
Hold on. Okay. We met her at the door. She was on crutches in her pajamas. But that's cool. So she was waiting for me. So yeah, I don't know why it just didn't have me come in here, right? On this road, down here, instead of having me go enter in it down there and then. Yeah, anyway, like I said, GPS will fuck you up. And it will. Another Chick-fil-A order. Oh no. I hope it's not taking me into Forney. I think I am going into Forney. This is like 7 minutes away. Ooh, these speed bumps. Lord. Yeah, 7 minutes away. It's definitely, it's going to take me into Forney. Well, we're in Seagoville already, so. But this order is for $7, and we all the way out here. So. We out here practicing. We're out here practicing. We're not in rush hour yet, so yeah. Because I'm not gonna be driving in rush hour. I'm not. I am not going to be driving. interesting stuff at that thrift store. Overcast, so it's hot, muggy, and overall, it's a nice ride. There's got to be a juvenile detention. There's got to be. The way they have barbed wire all around it, but not a lot, but enough. So yeah, so when you can connect with your partner, when you can have a psychic or a sentient connection with your partner, that's where you're like married in spirit. Okay? That's basically what, I've been trying to tell you. Like, neither one of my husbands was a marriage in spirit. Right? They wasn't. They basically just had convinced me that they were the one for me. They were the one for me. Like, okay. And all I could say at that time was, I didn't know what love was. pull up over here in the parking stall. Drive through, no. But, ooh, okay. Gonna try to get Kimberly her food. My car wouldn't start at Chick-fil-A. Tried to do it myself, I couldn't. The guy, the manager with muscles came out and hit the starter, and we got it started. So after I dropped this one off, we're not turning off the car, and then we're going back to the house. You know, like I said, you know, I was surprised, you know, that, you know, it worked as well as it did. Okay? But I think it's more sensitive. The solenoid this is a solenoid issue. It's not a motor issue. So whatever stops this solenoid from sparking up, that's the problem. So now it says 12 minutes. Whew, 12 minutes to get to this destination. I informed I've informed Kimberly, who's supposed to get this order, that I was having car problems. And yeah, we got to do what we got to do. And they gave me some water, some ice water. Very, very nice people out here, helpful. They wanted to give me a jump. I'm like, no, I don't need it.
From Kimberly G. Will you still be able to deliver or should? Or should I get a refund?
That you can sense, you know, that just flows off of these people, that they're not wicked, they're not sinister, you know, they're, you know, God-loving people. Okay? So anyway, hopefully I can take this order to this woman without having to turn my car off. Because I don't want to beat it again to get it started. You know, because I'm out here and I'm frustrated. It's 86 degrees out here and it's starting to feel hot. And it's frustrating. I bought this vehicle within 90 days ago. I shouldn't have to be dealing with this so fast. And you know, the whole purpose of buying the car was so that I could utilize it to do Uber. And he gave me this big ass van and told me that this was a vehicle that I would qualify for a lot easier than any other car out there on his lot. And I felt like, I got. Once the car started, it runs. But yeah, they thought it was a battery problem. It's not a battery problem. So I'm way out here in Crandall, and there's nice people out here. Country folk, they could be some of the sweetest people. Oh my gosh. Just willing to help and and no attitude about it. Just nice. It's nice out here. Really nice. So should be only 5 more minutes, and then we're just gonna call it a day. Cause we can't do this. We cannot. Now, I mean, I felt really good that there was people that would come and help me. That felt really good. But what I didn't care for was it just made me feel like embarrassed to be seen like that, right? And I mean, I tell myself all the time, there's no reason why I should be embarrassed, because shit, I'm poor and shit breaks down, and and we're trying to be out here making money, and and it doesn't always go the way we want it to go, and it feels embarrassing. But at the same time, it's like, why are you embarrassed that you're out here trying to make some money? So one thing though, the guy had learned that you can bypass the starter, and I told him, it's not the starter, it's actually the solenoid. That, the motor's fine, the starter motor is fine, it's the solenoid. And if you just hit it the right way, and once, he was like, he'd never done that before, so he learned something too. It doesn't always have to be just a jump. It doesn't have to be a starter, because he was willing to give me a jump. And for me, like if it's a battery problem, that's a little bit more simpler to fix than a starter problem. But I have a mechanic waiting. I have my mechanic waiting, who is my neighbor. And he said that on Sunday, when the part comes, that he'll help, he'll put it on for me. developments, you know, the way they have everything enclosed.